morning, everyone. I'm Heather Nauert, and you're watching the Strategy Room. It is just after 10:30 here on the East Coast, just after 7:30 a.m. on the West Coast. Welcome, and thanks a lot for joining us. Big news today, and that is if you are someone who's been waiting on the sidelines, trying to decide whether or not to buy a home, well, now could be the time to very seriously start thinking about this. That's because the Treasury Department, or word is leaking out from the Treasury Department, that they're looking at reconfiguring the economic bailout plan. They want to try to encourage mortgage rates to go down to 4.5%. Right now, the prevailing rate is about 5.5%. So this could be a huge deal for people who currently do not own homes. This would not apply to people looking at refinancing their homes, but rather new home buyers. And this is all a plan that's very fluid right now, very much in the works. But we will learn more about this program later on, so grab a pen if you're interested in that. Just a short while ago, the CEOs of the big three automakers arrived on Capitol Hill. They showed up on Capitol Hill in their hybrid vehicles, and they are there taking a little bit of a grilling right now before the Senate Banking Committee, answering questions from the senators about their reconfigured plans to try to turn their companies around. You know, they're now asking for $34 billion from the feds. Before it was $25 billion, so that number has grown. The United Auto Workers has said that it is making what it considers to be big concessions in order to try to help these companies turn around. So we will learn a little bit more about what they consider those big concessions to be. Then finally, Condoleezza Rice is spending time in Pakistan and, of course, in India, most recently meeting with President Zardari of Pakistan, pressuring Pakistan to crack down on militant and terrorist groups. This all happens as the airports in India are on high alert right now because of fears of another attack. Lots of good issues to talk with you guys about today and more. Let's introduce our panel. We'll get talking about these car makers, right? Starting out, we have Mike Maslansky. He is the CEO of Luntz Maslansky Strategy Research, and you're partners with Frank Luntz.
I am.
Frank seems to be the more public face of the two, so we're glad to...
For now.
For now. But we're glad to have you
Thank
here,
you.
and I would love to get your take on what a lot of folks out there are saying about these bailout plans. So let's talk about that one a little bit later. Trace Anderson, he is the chief of staff for New York State Senator Andy Lanza, who is a Republican, and he's a familiar face on the Strategy Room, so thanks for coming back. And I would like to welcome for the first time Ambassador Frank Wisner. He is the former ambassador to, get this, India, Egypt, and the Philippines, and you're a former Undersecretary of State.
And Defense.
And Defense as well. Okay, excuse me. So you have a great take on all of this stuff that's going on right now, really important things. And everybody's favorite, KT McFarland, who's a former Assistant Secretary of Defense. KT, hi, welcome back.
Thank you.
And she is still getting ready for the Army-Navy game.
Army-Navy game on Saturday.
That's all she
Go
can talk
Navy,
about.
beat Army.
Okay, so we have a report coming from Capitol Hill in about 10 minutes from now. One of our reporters is going to bring us up to speed on what these concessions are from the automakers and what the big three are asking for. One of the things that the United Auto Workers says that it's going to do is let the big three hold off a bit on paying into the workers' health care fund. And they also say they're going to do away eventually with that job bank program. It's that program where workers who don't have a job anymore get to hang out and get paid 95% of their salaries. And it's really been criticized by a lot of people. So is that enough on the part of the United Auto Workers to help get these companies back in order again?
I think that where the United Auto Workers are going to end up, whether they want to be there at the beginning or not, is to be paid like the other auto workers for Toyota, for all the other foreign automakers that are in the United States. I mean, why should they be paid more? Those companies are making money. They're running successful businesses. They seem to have workers that are doing the job. I think everything short of that is just trying to keep hold of everything that they can until they have to give it up.
Are these concessions big enough? Ambassador, what do you think?
Well, I'd be honest with you, I don't know the finances of the companies, but to my way of thinking, the issue is not as much for the auto workers to prove they can help the companies make it, but that management can prove to shareholders, to the United States Congress, to the American public, to the buying public, that they're able to produce automobiles and automotive products that we all want to buy and are fuel efficient and cheap and are competitive with the foreign imports.
But they
and
are.
they haven't made that case to me yet.
They are, though, partners in this, and not to focus too much on the auto workers, because it really is a problem that they've all gotten to collectively, with the companies not making the cars that Americans have wanted to drive in the past. But at least looking at the unions, are the unions, from what we've just talked about now, going far enough? And we'll talk about the car manufacturers separately.
You know, if I can jump in, to me, this reminds me of the Reagan moment with the air traffic controllers, where early in the Reagan presidency, the air traffic controllers went on strike and over just a huge package. They demanded salary increases, health benefits, you know, gold-plated limousines. I mean, it was unbelievable. And they went on a wildcat strike. And so Reagan, faced with this, and having been faced in the past in the Carter administration with what's called wage push inflation, Reagan fired them all. He said, you're on a wildcat strike. This strike is illegal. You got 24 hours to get back to work, and if you're not back to work, you all lose your jobs. And then he called up the Air National Guard, the Military National Guard, to take the place of the air traffic controllers. And the articles in the paper were all about, they were demanding this salary and that salary. Well, most people looked at that and said, wow, they're making a lot of money. Those are great benefits. So then when the Reagan administration called and said, anybody want to apply for these air traffic controller jobs, people lined up all around the block. And it was a very critical moment for Reagan, because after that, no unions wanted to go on strike. Nobody wanted to have outrageous demands. The public opinion totally changed as a result of that. And I think this may be one of the moments that if the automobile industry gets away with huge bailouts without having to restructure, with the same executives in their, you know, in their private airplanes, and with the same union structure and benefits packages, well, who's next?
Yeah.
You know, everybody's going to line up at that window.
We have Peter Feld just joining us right now. Hi there, Peter. Nice to see you. Peter's a Democratic strategist, and you had worked for the Clintons, did you not?
No, I never did. I worked at polling firms. I worked for Paul Songas. I worked for Michael Dukakis.
That's right.
Several others.
Sorry about that. Okay,
No
good
problem.
to see you back.
But of course, I love the Clintons.
So we all.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure. We'll find out more.
I think we have the CEO's arrived on the Hill just about an hour ago, and I think we have a quick soundbite from the CEO of General Motors just as he was arriving. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can get Kevin's attention here, because he's on the phone.
Sorry, hold on.
Did you see that? Kevin's got two phones to his
Yeah,
ears
it's
there.
his mother and his girlfriend. He doesn't know which call to take.
Do we have that soundbite from the GM CEO as he was arriving on the Hill? Can we play that real quick before we go to Mike Emanuel? I was telling the ambassador here, who's here for the first time, that we're very casual. So
Yes.
we're very casual here on the
great.
strategy room. Just go with us here. And in the meantime, let me show you guys an ad that was in today's New York Times. This was taken out by the UAW, and it says, "We are not bankers. We don't work on Wall Street for big insurance companies. We build quality cars and trucks, but we've been hit by the same financial crisis. If we go out of business, so will thousands of other businesses. If we lose jobs, so will millions of others." These guys are trying to affect sort of the public opinion and the debate on this entire matter. And I heard just last night that they are going to be airing a bunch of TV commercials to try to sway public opinion on this issue. Okay, let's take a listen to what...
Join the fray.
Yeah, right.
A few others in that market.
Here's what Rick Wagner had to say just a short while ago.